Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the fifth set. I have a great episode for you today because it's all about Carlos Alcaraz behind the scenes. So let me explain how all of this went down. I was just chilling with my friend, watching some practice sessions, and I see someone, and I see him from the back sitting in this seat, right? And I look at his hair and think, wait, that looks like Carlos. Then I see the hoodie. I'm like, I know he likes to wear hoodies. And I see his sneakers, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should just go and check, because it could be Carlos. But I just couldn't believe it, because usually they don't put him doing media and training around this time because it's so crowded and it's just, you get a mob and it's not safe. So I was like, it can't be. And we ran around, and lo and behold, it was him. And I saw him do all these interviews and fun social media posts. So here he is with the comic Josh Berry, who was doing impressions, and Carlos was having a great time. But I still got luckier because then I saw him train up close. Now this also blew my mind, because every time I've been at Queens, they put Carlos on the other court. That's just out of frame, but they put him there because the fans can't get close and they can't bother him. But today, somehow, they put him on this court. And that meant getting super close to this practice session and seeing all of it. Now, the moment Carlos was here, it got so crowded that they had to implement a queuing system where you could watch him for 5 minutes. You would then be kicked out. You'd have a queue again. But I still got to see like 20-25 minutes of this practice session, which was just incredible. I mean, what a privilege. So here are a couple of things I will say right off the bat. Carlos is just a phenomenal player, and everything about the way he trains has such a purpose and dedication, which was fantastic to see. The one thing you maybe can't tell in these videos, but I want to call out, is that a lot of the players are locked into practice, and they may or may not make time for fans afterwards, right? But while Carlos was playing, if somebody said something like, "Oh, Carlos, you're my favorite," or "I love you," even in the middle of practice, he would just take a little second to like look up, smile, wave, give a thumbs up, say, "I love you" back. And I can tell why he is so likable. He's so humble. He interacts with the fans to the extent that he can. Obviously, there's a lot of security and they try and usher him away so he doesn't get mobbed. But even in little interactions, it was so nice to see. Now, in terms of his playing, he was doing some of these drills here at the net. He was practicing a lot of approach to the net, and was also kind of hitting down the middle. So here you can see him doing his volleys, and previously you saw him practicing his approach shot. That seemed to be a big part of his focus. And one thing that's really cool is this fella right here is David Quail. So I know David personally. He's a pro player himself, and he plays as a Wimbledon hitter, but also a Queens hitter. And so it was really cool to have David at Queens, but also he's playing with Carlos, and I know David, and I actually did an interview with him about the experience on my Instagram. So you can check that out. But David did really well, because I can't believe how nerve-wracking it is to have to play and hit with Carlos, and you know, a bunch of fans are watching you and you're nervous and you're excited. So kudos to David, who did a fantastic job. But going back to what I said earlier about Carlos's personality and how humble and gracious he is, he was so kind with David too, because David was a little nervous, and at one point he missed a couple serves, and Alcaraz was like, "Hey buddy, don't worry, it happens to me too. It happened to me just earlier." Whereas I know for a fact that there are other pros who are not that kind to hitters. Like, you shank a couple balls, you miss, and they get annoyed, and they're making faces and they're rolling their eyes. So it just, again, it shows you what kind of person he is, right? He has great dedication and intensity during his practice, but somehow he'll still find these little moments to interact with fans. And when he can, he's still keeping in mind the comfort of his hitting partner, and just being generous and kind about the whole thing. So if it's possible to have become an even bigger fan of Carlos, it happened. I became an even bigger fan. At the end, what happened was that after he's still goofing around here. This is what I like. This is what I mean. Like, he's super intense, but he's still having fun. He's just a dope guy. Anyways, he did some drills with his coach, which is what's happening here. So left to right, and then would play an approach shot and come to the net again. So clearly that was a big focus. Like, approaching the net for whatever reason in this session was a key part of their goal. And again, you can see him messing around. So he's having a lot of fun. But look, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's not very long, but I was, obviously getting moved in the queue a lot. So I just tried to get some behind the scenes footage for you guys. Wanted to let you know about my experience from what I saw, about his training and what kind of person he was like. Also from David's perspective. So big shout out to David for hitting with him and also taking the time to speak with me. But I have a lot more cool videos coming up for you guys from my other tennis experiences. Next week, I'm going to post about my filming session with Technifiber and Joe Salisbury. So don't miss that. Follow, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.